And what you see here now is a final rendering, or I mean, it's not really finished, but it's a rendering of higher quality settings for the renderer itself. It's set to production. And I'm also using 30 glossy samples. So you see that this glossiness looks a lot smoother now, but it is still pretty grainy. And I would like to show you now how you could accelerate your render time by using another setting inside the Mir materials. And that setting is inside interpolation. You can turn it on, you can set your reflection samples to 2 or 4 or something. You have different resolution settings you can use. And what interpolation basically is doing is it takes a really grainy reflection, like with 4 samples, applies a blur filter to it, and then maps that over your geometry. So it's kind of like a Photoshop 2D effect, but right mapped onto the geometry. Because here I only want to use the reflection to create a shininess or sheen effect on the fabric, I don't really need a precise or physically correct reflection, because this one is totally fake. But it speeds up my render time significantly. So this one is 1 minute and 51 seconds. And for example, this one is with the interpolation turned on. And you see I saved 30 seconds. Now if I compare this one to maybe a plain diffuse rendering, so here the reflection is completely turned off, you can see how nicely this interpolation still adds a shininess to that material. And that is a key element of really nice fabric materials. And if you then imagine the texture and the bump mapping, it will look really, really nice. I hope this quick series about modeling, UV unwrapping, texturing and rendering was helpful to you to get you started in how to feel comfortable with the new architecture shaders in Mental Ray, and also how to use photorealistic working area lights and the camera lens shaders to get really nice predictable results to become even better at it. Specifically when you're new at it, probably your first renderings won't really turn out, and that's totally fine, because you need to build up some practice and experience. And I personally always tell my students that use reference objects for modeling and reference pictures for rendering. So if you go to that supplied document, the workshop rendering, you will see that I created one page with numerous images I found on the internet. And those images can be a terrific tool to get ideas about how to set up your scene. For example, the background color, the background reflectivity, the background structure, and environment. But it also tells you a lot about the material qualities. For example, how diffuse the leather is, how blurry or shiny the leather can be, or how the fabric material might look like. And those photos also tell you a lot about the lighting setup. For example, here you can clearly see how strongly that reflection is. On the shoe, the light reflection is very dim, so they must use a light that is actually on the left and very far away, but it's large and dim, and there's a strong shininess there, so they must have a small stronger light somewhere on the right side. Similar to here, a light on the left, a light on the right. Here you can see the light reflection is more on top of the shoe. The shadow is below the shoe, so there must be a big light on top. And to enhance your learning experience, I highly would suggest you to maybe become active and members of online communities like CG Society. I'm, for example, because I'm heavily using Blender in the recent years, I'm a member of blenderartist.org, and those communities are a terrific tool if you want, for example, to post some work, get extra feedback. Keep in mind, you only have a limited amount of in-class time. And when you're out of class and you have questions, those websites or services are really a terrific tool, because besides artwork or feedback questions, they also all offer most times forums about modeling, questions, material, texturing, rigging, animation, etc. And in addition, those websites are also a really good tool to maybe be up to date about what's going on inside the CG community, maybe about CG jobs. They're a really good networking tool. And in case you need textures, I also could maybe tell you to use CG Textures. It's a pretty good website and a nice service. They have a really rich collection of different image-based materials. And in recent time, I noticed that actually at DeviantArt you can find a really super amount of seamless or tileable free textures. And for example, here I just typed in fabric textures, and this one are 8 tileable fabric textures, like jeans, some wool stitching, and another cool material. So they're really awesome to use in case you are in a time crunch and need to get something out and you don't really have the time to do it on yourself. They're perfect to use. Well, I hope this all was helpful to you and exciting. And yeah, I wish you good luck with your modeling and rendering. Bye bye.